They have no qualms about ruining and destroying people who get in their way. I have a little bit of experience with this. I've served in Congress for 8 years. When I first got there, I got a lot of attention that I didn't expect at all. I was invited to a lot of the fancy parties in D.C., which is like the status symbol, right? Like, oh, who did you go to this ambassador's party or the White House correspondents' dinner and all this stuff? It's a lot like high school. True story. You look on the House floor. You ever in Washington, go sit in the gallery, and you look at what groups are huddled together on the House floor. It tells you a lot. Once they learned, who was it? I think it was John. Somebody asked me, how in the world did they pick you to be vice chair of the Democratic National Committee? Well, they didn't know me, first of all. I'm not joking. It was a couple of weeks after I had been first sworn into office in 2013 when I got a call saying, would you like to be vice chair of the DNC? And my literal response was, what is a vice chair of the DNC? And what do you really want me to do? What are you asking of me? They didn't know. I just got aloha for everybody, you know? They didn't know. They didn't realize that I wasn't going to be a puppet. They didn't realize that by dangling these things that a lot of people really, really, really desire and hold on to for dear life, it didn't matter to me. That I wasn't going to fall for the trinkets that they offered, because I knew where my priorities stood. My commitment was not to the Democratic Party or any party for that matter. My commitment was to our country. My commitment was to my brothers and sisters who never came home. And so once they realized that, again, I'm not exaggerating, I would walk down the street and people would cross the street to walk on the other side. Because they didn't even have the courage to walk by me and say, hi, Tulsi, how are you? They began their attacks on my presidential campaign the moment I walked up on that stage to announce my candidacy. Locked and loaded, they were ready to go, and in their minds, it was game on. So the tactics that they used against me are the same ones they're using against Donald Trump. They're the same ones that they're using against Bobby Kennedy Jr., telling voters in New Hampshire and Iowa, oh, yeah, your votes don't matter. They won't be counted. Don't even bother. And so what we're seeing here, that this isn't something personal about me or Donald Trump or Bobby Kennedy or other candidates who have faced this kind of wrath. This is about you. This is about the voters in this country. This is about them telling all of us that this facade of a democracy that they have painted doesn't actually exist, because they don't care about our voices. They don't care about the Constitution. We also see how this same attitude of bend the knee or else is implemented in their foreign policy. How we see this attitude saying, well, all other countries in the world must bend to the wishes of the United States, or else you will be an adversary or an enemy. This attitude and mindset goes against the very vision for our country's foreign policy that our founders had for us. They don't care about the consequences of their actions. Thomas Jefferson rightly talked about these cowardly leaders when he said they prefer the calm of despotism to the boisterous sea of liberty. This is the world they want this country to be. So instead of a government ordained to secure these rights, they are intent on taking them away. But the good news is it does not have to be this way. Harry Truman once said, and I came across this quote recently and I loved it. He said, America was not built on fear. America was built on courage, imagination, and an unbeatable determination to do the job at hand. Well, that job is at hand, folks. We have been given a no-fail mission by our founding fathers. Not just me or Bob or John or other individuals. They were talking to every one of us when they said, "We the people." They were talking to us when they spoke of a self-governed nation. We the people. We have the power, but it only works if we use it. It doesn't mean we are going to agree on every issue or that we should somehow walk in lockstep. Our founding fathers didn't agree on every issue. We see how fiercely they debated and fought with each other, sometimes physically, which I don't condone. But debate is good. Bringing different ideas, different experiences, different backgrounds to this conversation about how we save our country and how we solve these problems, it makes us stronger. The thing that our founding fathers coalesced around, stood together on, is the same thing that we need to stand together on today. Who we are as Americans. This foundation upon which our country was built. Our love for this country and our commitment to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic.